All right, so let's talk about the last time you faced the Warriors. Let's go back to Game 7. That shot you hit. The Wall Street Journal recently called it the greatest clutch shot in the history of the NBA.
One-on-one, Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
So how has your life changed since that shot?
It's just, I feel like my life has changed just from the understanding that I have of it. The overall grand, big picture of how I see myself and, how my leadership role has changed on this team. I'm just living in total freedom, just completely.
It is freeing, right? Because all of that criticism that you heard, even early in the NBA Finals, people saying, oh, he's shooting too much, his assists aren't high enough, that kind of thing. It seems like you felt vindicated by that.
The vindication came not just from proving everyone else wrong. The vindication came from living up to my own expectations. I stopped necessarily putting energy in that place of trying to make everyone happy and trying to figure out what would be best for the team looking outside.
There's been some serious words exchanged from these two teams in the last 6 months.
I support all of it. It's just all part of the game. It's good for the fans. It's good for the NBA. It just makes this Christmas Day game that much more special.
You have said that you've modeled a lot of your game on Kobe Bryant. Why was he so influential to you?
Kobe's been very influential in my life, just watching from the outside. And now it's turned into a mentorship. Now it felt that much better because now I have direction. I started reaching out and asking for help rather than just being a stubborn young player and just trying to figure it out on my own.
Was that hard?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get over your own stubbornness because you feel like you want to figure out the answer on your own. But ultimately, there were other people put on this world to help you get to where you need to go or where you want to go. So why not utilize it?
As I've gotten to know you over the years, one thing that's been impressed on me is just how curious you are about the world around you.
Yeah.
Why don't you let more people see that?
I am in a place where I'm trying to find the balance of making sure that I stay true to who I am, always living in truth, but also trying to give my influence on the world in the best way I know how. I realized that I don't want to just leave a legacy in basketball. It comes so much deeper than that. I wanted to be known as a generational leader when I leave this game and ultimately when I leave this world. So that is just something I'm figuring out. But I feel like I'm getting better at just opening up and being more communicative with everyone around me.
You tweeted about Standing Rock and the protesters there. What made that rise to the level of something that you wanted to take on?
I'm actually Sioux Indian. So I come from my family. My mom was adopted and my mom's parents were from the native tribe. So there's a home connection there, what's going on there. We have to defend the sacred and realize that, the land in which I understand that there's bigger cause and things that goes on from both sides, but at the end of the day, it's about what is right. And I always want to stand for what is right, despite what anyone else thinks.
2-3 years ago, you did have a sort of big change around here when LeBron James came to play with you. You guys have had to adjust to each other. How did things get from there to where they are now?
It was as human as it could be. You have this 6'8" stature guy that's a two-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 4 times MVP. It's 8th all-time in scoring. And he has the accolades and everything. And then here I am. I'm trying to become this budding guy in the league, and I think that what gets criticized sometimes is how you respond to that. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to look pretty. It was just a lot to learn. We didn't know what it exactly looked like, but it started with me and Bron. It started with our relationship and how we were going to grow together, and we figured it out.
I want to finish up by talking about your NBA potential. You've got a guy on your team who has won 4 Most Valuable Player awards. He seems to think that you're in line to win one sometime in the next few years, too. Do you feel that?
Yes, I do feel that. I feel that, but from the standpoint of understanding that I have to be great in every role and be in the moment of what is now. The individual stuff, all that stuff is like, okay, you want it to happen, but at the end of the day, I want to see that championship again. I want to see the enjoyment and the tears in my brother's eyes and realizing that this was all worth it. All the sacrifice and everything that came with it is all worth it.
Okay, you guys were down for 14 after Golden State went on 7-0 at the start of the fourth. What do you think turned it around?
Just getting stops. Trusting our game plan, understanding that. We just had to pick our intensity up. That's a great team down there, and they have guys that have the ability to make some big shots, which they did down the stretch. But for us, it was just about executing offensively, getting to our spots, crashing the boards when we had opportunities, and just staying resilient. There were a few hustle plays where you see both teams diving on the floor, and that's what you want in a high-intense game.
Cavs didn't have any timeouts before that go-ahead shot you hit. What did you see going into the possession, and what do you think about the shot you got?
I'm just trying to get to a spot. I know Clay's a great defender, so taking a turnaround shot it's a tough shot, and they got a great contest on it. And just thankfully it went in. But understanding that they were trusting me with that shot going full court. Still 3.5 seconds left on the clock, which is a lot of time, but I just tried to get the best shot. So.
Ty said he thought you slowed down, keep play on you, that it was supposed to be a screen and switch. He thought you wanted to play on you, did you?
At the end of the game, it was going to be a quick screen by Sean to get Sean on me, but wanted to waste a little bit more time, so getting it over half court under 10 seconds, and then just try to get to a spot. But it was going to be a switch by them, depending on. But I'm pretty sure Clay wanted to be on me, and I'm pretty sure I wanted Clay to be on me as well. But it's just a great play that ended up happening. But it's toughly defended.
What do you like so much about having the ball in your hands in that situation?
It's just fun, man. Just being in a high competition game and being able to have the trust of your teammates and your coaching staff. Knowing the preparation comes way before the game, but understanding that in situations like that, that's what we prepare for in practice, different plays. It's just sometimes the game works out that way. Whether myself, Bron, or Kevin, with the play being called, just got to be aggressive and take the best shot possible.
Do you think this game will carry over into the finals if you guys meet the Warriors again?
What's today's date?
Well, a game like this.
No, what's today's date though?
December 25th.
Oh, okay. It was December 25th, man. We got ways before we even start considering the carryover or anything else like that. It's just a Christmas Day game. Another classic with a great team. It's exciting. It's just all respect when we go out there and play. It's just high-level players just making high-level plays.
What did Richard Jefferson give to you guys today?
Oh, man. It was about time he got activated in the fourth quarter. We're all laughing at it. It's just, old man Jefferson just getting started again, going in the fourth quarter, getting 2 huge dunks, and just being our emotional guy. Did he get another tech tonight?
Yes.
Got another tech tonight. We'll hopefully, we all gather some money so we can pay another tech for RJ. But yeah, he just brings that to the floor every single time, whether he's hitting shots or not. He's always willing to listen, always willing to do the dirty plays for us.
Kyrie, I think you started 5 of 18. Anything in particular that got you going? A deep 3 kind of started here.
Yeah, man, it's just in that fourth quarter. It's just, I love it, man. It's awesome to be part of it. When the game gets close or it feels like it's getting out of hand, there's some plays that can happen that can change the momentum, and that's what happened. Bron wasn't on the floor at the time. They make a 7-0 run. They go up 14. We come out, then we run a good play. We get a couple driving kicks, some layups, some fouls, and then we're back in it. So the momentum could shift at any moment in the game, and we just kept with that resilient attitude. So it's good.
Kyrie, the last 2 times you played the Warriors, they lost because of your shot. When you go into this one, you go into the play thinking about what you did in the last one?
Nah, man. I wouldn't be living in the truth if I don't live in moment to moment, and that's just realizing what's important and just being in the moment at hand. Those shots, whether they go in or not, you still got to live with it. But I was in the game today and just living moment to moment with my teammates, and that's what it's about.
Team, was anything said? Did anything need to be said at that point?
Got to get stops, and you got to make shots. KD came out in that fourth quarter and was very aggressive. Got to the paint, made some shots, and went from a 7-point game to a 14-point game real fast. And we just kept our composure. Came out of timeout, executed some things. Kyrie got going, and got some stops.
Do you believe in momentum in a rivalry? Games goes past 1 game or even a couple games.
I don't know. I don't it's never been a point of topic in my thought processes. For tonight, or today, we just wanted to. It's part of our journey. We want to try to get better. Every day we get an opportunity to do that, and I think we did that tonight.
Do the Warriors bring out some extra emotion, or just because of their talent and all that?
Well, they got out of this world talent. Obviously, emotions come out for not only the players, but for you guys and for the fans because of the last two finals matchups. So everyone just started thinking back what's happened between the last year's finals or the previous finals. So emotions, that's just human nature for all of us. So, yeah.
We're a long way from April or June, but is it good to play in a game with that kind of intensity where it's possession for possession? Not like you don't do that all the time, but especially against a team like that.
It's always fun. The competition is what you live for. And it's always fun when you get an opportunity to play on Christmas. And even that much more fun to be home. And so, we it lived up to what everybody wanted it to.
When you got that late time go over Draymond, do you have any flashbacks to the moments that won in Game 7 when you got fouled, or can you see the parallel?
I had a flashback when I was cutting, and I said, if Kyrie, if he see me and he get it to me, I gotta try to get this one home because I wasn't able to get the one back in June home. So, Kyrie made an unbelievable pass. I just try to make myself aware. I believe in energy. The ball finds energy, and I was able to slam it home.
So Kyrie, he makes the last shot and he wins. At what point for you does his shot for Game 7 come back in your mind?
Nah, it didn't come back at all. He did make a right step back three on the right wing over Draymond. I remember that one. It was the same shot he made in Game 7, but that shot was different. But the kid is special. It was never in doubt.
LeBron, what did RJ's defense late in the game? How much did that allow you to get in the mindset of checking Clay in the final few minutes?
Well, I had to. I had to check Clay because of the personnel that we had on the floor, and RJ allows me to do that. RJ allowed me to move off KD, and his aggressiveness not only defensively on KD and making him take some tough ones either after his hot start in the early fourth, but his aggressiveness offensively too. They had to respect RJ, what he was doing down the stretch in the fourth. So it's great to have a complimentary guy like that.
Have you ever seen a player get a technical for winking?
Nah, and it probably get rescinded. The ref was behind the play, and he probably thought RJ said something. He actually didn't say nothing. He actually winked and smiled, and KD was actually okay with that. And so it'll get rescinded. We're not worried about that.
Do these turn back the clock dunks though really kind of fire you up?
Absolutely. We know RJ got a lot left in those legs, and it's great when he's able to have a flashback like that. So it was a big play for us, big momentum swing going baseline and throwing that home over Clay, and he was tremendous late in the game.
How difficult is it to play tomorrow? Quality opponent on the road back to back after an emotional game like this?
I haven't even started to think about tomorrow. I'm gonna be honest. I'm about to head back home and continue to celebrate Christmas, but when that time comes, we'll lock back in.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. Ty, given everything that happened the last time you played them with the ball in Kyrie's hands, just what immediately goes through your mind when you see him hit the turnaround jumper?
He's just a killer on the court. We put the ball in his hands at the end of the game, to go one-on-one against Clay, who's a great defender. And it's kind of strange because Shump was supposed to set a screen and Kyle was supposed to come off and force a switch in transition. But I think he wanted that matchup. He went slow. I think he wanted that matchup. But, man, it's just, a total team effort, all the way around the board. Kyrie having 7 steals a night. He had 5 the game before. I thought defensively we really cranked it up. Holding his team to 21 points in the fourth quarter. We got down 14, but we showed we was resilient. We just stayed composed and we didn't let the officiating hurt us. We didn't let them making shots bother us. We called our timeouts, got our composure back, and we was able to execute. And I just think that total team effort all around the board.
Dave McMenamin, ESPN. Shumpert started off shooting the ball poorly. RJ started off shooting the ball poorly. Kyrie did too, and you guys are down 14 early on in the fourth quarter. What allowed the team to come back and those 3 guys also to make contributions down the stretch?
Shump made a big 3 in the corner. Big 3 for us down the stretch. RJ had 2 monstrous dunks, so I don't know where he got that from. But, he turned back the clock on those 2 dunks. Was pretty good for us. And I just think you shoot 39% against a team like this. Not too often you're going to win the game. Especially when they shoot 48%. So I just thought we just kept fighting, just kept competing, kept grinding, and just never gave in.
Tyrick Nolan from the Medina Gazette. You didn't use a timeout after the review on the 24-second violation. Did you know what you wanted to do?
I didn't have any.
You didn't. That's a good.
Kevin, Lears got hurt, so we had to take one. Okay. Kevin cramped up. I think like maybe 5 minutes ago in the fourth quarter, so I had to burn one in. And then when they scored, went up 3. I just, I know it was a minute 40 left, and I knew we needed a basket at that point. I knew we needed to get our composure, calm down. They ran a great ATO. Draymond got the dunk or whatever out of the timeout or out of a play. And I just felt we needed to score a basket out of that timeout, so that's why I called my 20.
When you got down 14, you kept LeBron out even after the first timeout there. How much faith did you have on the guys that were on the floor then that they could keep you in it or get you back in it until you got some rest?
They want to run. Kyrie was aggressive scoring the basketball, and we got out in transition after we got stops, and we were scoring the basketball, so that allowed us to rest LeBron a little bit more. And he sat there, and then we kept making a run, and then we brought him back in, and then we just took off from there.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Ty, can you go through the decision to put LeBron on Clay to finish off the game?
Can I what?
Can you go through that decision? What went into that? Was that LeBron that asked for that kind of thing? Was that a plan going into the game that you were going to do that?
Well, with Clay's movement, we just thought it was hard, for RJ to try to chase him. We had Shump on Steph, and then we had Kai off the ball on Iguodala. So LeBron, took that challenge of guarding Clay, knowing if he was late, we can always switch out, and then he can guard the big, whoever that is, if he's late on the pin down. So that was just an adjustment we made. KD played great, but RJ, the last 2 possessions, came up with 2 big stops, and we just able to win the game. Just showing resolve and being, just keep fighting and keep scrapping.
You mentioned the 2 monster dunks by RJ. After the first one, he got teed up, and to us it looks like he just winked at Kevin Durant. Have you ever seen a technical call for that?
You should get a tech if you wink. I've never got. If you wink, I'd rather cuss him out or say something like that. If you wink, you should get a tech. Yeah, for sure.
Ty, you spent the last couple days talking about how this is just one regular season game. It doesn't count for more wins than one, and if you were to win, and it has no bearing on what happens in June if you get there. But given you did lose JR, you've always had a hole at backup point guard. A couple dead spots on the roster. You came in this one shorthanded. Does now that it's over and you won the way you did, how good does that make you feel about your team right now?
Knowing we're short a man, down a man, and guys have to step up in the absence of JR, and to beat a great team like this, it means a lot about our team. And we didn't shoot the basketball well. Like I said, shooting 39% from the field and still beat a great team. That's saying a lot, about our team. And like I told you before, we're just we're playing good basketball. We're playing team basketball, making the right plays, the right passes. And I think our defense, like I said, really picked up, and we're playing well defensively. And when we do that, we're able to get out in transition and get our open threes and get to the basket and things like that. So it's more so predicated on our defense. They went through a stretch where they scored a lot. We weren't able to get out in transition, and that kind of hurt us offensively. And but when we was able to get stops and get out and run, especially with that second unit, get out and run, open the floor, then Kyrie and LeBron can attack, and then Channing and RJ and those guys can spot up in transition. So getting stops for us was big and key in that fourth quarter.
Coach Caleb Kandra, 90.9. LeBron James had a bit of a slow start to the game. It felt like he was a little passive as he had been originally in the finals. Second half looked a lot better, looked a lot more aggressive, and kind of took hold of things. Was there something that you guys kind of said to each other in the locker room at halftime that kind of shifted that in the second half?
No, our whole team struggled early. It wasn't just LeBron. I don't know how many layups we missed. We missed layups, wide open shots, easy pull-up shots. Kyrie struggled early. But, when you're dealing with great players and players that can play the game and can score, anytime you're going to catch a rhythm sooner or later. And we just told LeBron when they go on those screens, step up and shoot the basketball. You've been shooting the ball well. You've been working on it, so take those shots. And I think he came back and made 3 threes, I think, in a row in that third quarter, which is big for us. So just taking the shots and taking what the defense gives you, and that's what he did in the second half.
Jason Lodeck, journalhow.com. Kind of following up on what Joe said. Said for 48 hours, it's one game, but just the way that you came back from 14 down. The way that you came back from 3-1 and Kyrie hit the shot and Kyrie hits the shot again, can that have any sort of psychological carryover, do you think, just because they've had so much trouble putting you guys away here?
I hope so. I hope so. Maybe we can play them last 2 shots in their arena and they might think about it. But I mean, Kyrie, he lives for that moment. And, he's a big shot maker. He has been since I've been following his career before I even got here. So, he's capable of doing that, but we know that at the end of the game, we know it's a tough matchup for those guys, and whoever's guarding them, even a great defender as Clay is, it's tough to guard a guy one-on-one, especially when you have shooters on the floor, space on the floor, and now you got to guard him one-on-one by yourself. Not too many people that can do that.
Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. When you see LeBron James making those threes in that third quarter, do you see anything different in the way he's shooting the long ball this year, or is it just more comfortable for him?
Just don't think about it. Just shoot it. Just take what the defense gives you. And I understand when he says he doesn't like running the pick and roll early, and guys go under. He hasn't passed the ball yet to come down and shoot the basketball. That makes sense. But when the ball is swung, he gets to the second side and they go under. He has to take that shot. And when he made those shots, they started going over the top. And now he's able to get downhill and get into the paint, dunks, spray outs for 3. So we're comfortable with him shooting those shots, and he is too. So just got to keep doing it.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com. Do you think there's something about the Warriors that sort of gets your players' juices flowing, or just the way that the emotion that the Warriors play with and the athletes they have, just something that turns it up a notch?
I think just playing in back-to-back finals, I think when both teams win one, you split in the finals, that there's becomes a lot of tension between the two teams, and when you get between those lines, I know guys have friends on the other side of the floor, but when you get between those lines, you want to compete and you want to beat them, and they wanted to beat us. And you've seen Draymond Green's comments, early on in the season, when they played us, what they wanted to do to us. And we feel the same way, and after the game we can like them and love them, but when we get between those lines, it's a battle, and that's what you should have when you're playing against 2 great teams are playing.